with WWW Lawman Guitar, and I've got a green guitar for you today. Have you ever seen a greener guitar? This is some really cool guitar. I actually have two of these right now, a 6-string and a 12-string. The 6-string is a smaller body, but these are a JG guitar made out in Italy. They only made these in 1966 and 1967. We can't tell which year it is, but it's one of those 2 years. And they're made in Italy, and JG stands for Julio Giulietti. The Giulietti company made accordions, and they got into guitars back in the 60s when they could see what was happening with the Beatles and all the stuff coming out of England, and they jumped on the bandwagon, and they did some really cool stuff. They absolutely nailed a really cool looking guitar, which would attract a lot of attention in America, and they used really great parts. Now, the thing that I like about the JG guitars, as opposed to some of the other Italian guitars, a lot of the EKOs and Voxes, they oversprayed the finishes on them, and the finishes became cracked. These have no indication of that at all. So I think their finish people were certainly a lot more sophisticated than some of the Vox and EKO people, because there's just no overspray, there's no big finish cracks in it. It's in just beautiful, beautiful shape. And they did some really, really cool stuff, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But first of all, it's 100% original. There's nothing on this guitar that is not original. It's got original knobs, the tone panel here, the pickup selectors. These single coil pickups are just outstanding. They're so full of life, and they're not thin at all. They're very full pickups. And look at the stuff on the top here. I mean, they use some really cool inlays, which shows their accordion background. I mean, they did a lot of inlay stuff on accordions, and they brought that into their guitars. The JG symbol is inlaid also with some pearloid material. This fancy, looks like a music stand of some sort is on there. They use some really cool tuners back here, which I've seen some EKOs with these tuners. I'm not sure who made those. And then it's got the made in Italy neck plate on the back, and they're just, you know, really just a couple dings on it. Other than that, I mean, this guitar is in beautiful shape. The F-holes are bound. It's got this big, heavy 12-string bridge on it. The bridge is beautiful. The tailpiece is beautiful, and it plays like $1,000,000. I mean, a lot of these 12 strings, you know, you're going to have some real man hands to play them, but that is so cool. Now, let's tell you how this thing works. I didn't have the volume all the way up. They have this tone panel down here as opposed to a tone pentometer. And my tech, who had all this apart to clean all these parts out, said it is really some cool thing. It actually slides. There's a piece in there that slides to engage these different tone caps. And so it goes from very trebly to less trebly to, you can almost play bass guitar with that. This is kind of nice. prefer this sound. Now the other thing that it has, instead of a three-way switch, it has also a slider switch in here where you can go all the way off, so you have a full mute in it. Then we have full, which is both pickups. One which I think should be the back pickup. Yeah. Wow, what a cool guitar. It's also got the JG inlaid on the pick guard. There's no doubt that that is the original pick guard. So, I mean, this guitar is absolutely beautiful. It's very rare. You just don't see these. It's the first one I've ever even knew that existed. I never even knew these guitars were out there until I saw this one. I was like, what is that? I knew about JG guitars, so there was a few that floated around Des Moines because we had accordion dealers here in town. So they would send them JG guitars because they also sold their accordions. So there's a few JG guitars that have floated up through the Des Moines area because of that. So what a cool guitar. Now, it's a great guitar, but you know what? A case, we're going to find a case for that guitar. It's an unusual size, and it's just incredibly difficult to try to figure out what kind of case you would have with it unless you had the original JG hardshell case. I couldn't believe it when he says, oh, and by the way, I have the original case. It's like, oh, you have to be kidding me. I have another case like this, and I didn't know what it went to, and it was longer. I was hoping it was shorter for a guitar, but it's for a JG bass. So if you see a JG bass around, give me a holler. I've got the case for it. But it is the form-fitting case for that guitar, and it's really cool. It's got this gold plush inside. It's got the accessory box in it. Fits the guitar perfectly. There's a little bit of damage at the bottom where they've been jamming the guitar down in there to lay it down, but all the latches are on it, all the hinges are on it. It's just a fantastic case. This really cool blue pebble material. One hinge, it looks like, is loose on the back. Two hinges are loose on the back. I take that back. The middle two are holding it together, so you'll have to do some work on that, on these hinges. I hadn't noticed that. That may be fixed by the time it gets to you. But anyway, you get this really cool original JG case with the green. I mean, how green is that guitar? I mean, I've been putting pictures on Instagram and Facebook, and people are going, wow, that is some green guitar. And it sounds great, and it plays great. So check in all of our really cool guitars out at www.lawmanguitars.com. You might check out our demos at our YouTube page. We got all kinds of people that are following that. Appreciate you watching it. Appreciate it more if you buy a few guitars from me. They're selling like hotcakes, so you better grab one while you can. Check them out at www.lawmanguitars.com. Thanks for watching my demo.